Gogokid, you done did us dirty. You're not legally liable to these credit score incentives, but you made it really confusing, okay? Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Payton. Thank you for being here. Today I wanted to make a video on the new updated, restructured, reformulated Gogokid credit score system. They just started this in January of 2020, so this is fairly new, and I still feel like a lot of people are confused about how the credit score system now works. Basically, if you don't know what the credit score system is, it's how Gogokid decides your incentive pay that is added on to your base pay. How it used to be is they start your credit score off at 100, and if you made it to 110, they would just add 110% of whatever your base pay is to your base pay per class. And then same thing for if you made it to 120, they would add 125, I believe, to your base pay. So it was a lot simpler before I got hired, and technically since I signed my contract December 29th, I am still under the old credit score system. However, it's really confusing because I have no idea how to be able to check, because except for like on my own, because the teacher portal does not show the old system whatsoever. It just shows the new one, and it's I want to preface this video by saying this is not sponsored or made possible by Gogokid. I'm doing this all myself, partially just so I can understand this new system, because it's really confusing, and we'll get into it. Like, I feel like this video needs to be made. Again, it's really confusing, but my goal for today is to make it simple for you so that you can understand. I'm gonna add a couple examples towards the end of the video. But yeah, if you would like more videos about Gogokid in the future, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, it means the world. But yeah, let's just get started. Okie dokie. So I got my handy dandy iPad in front of me to make sure I'm on track. So basically, Gogokid offers bonuses onto your base pay. So whatever your base pay is, base pay for each class ranges from $7 to $10. So whatever your incentive score is just added onto that. So how you figure out your class earnings, and I'm gonna put this hopefully somewhere. Your class earnings are your credit score incentive plus your service fee for each class. So your service fee is just your regular base pay. Whatever you make per class, that's that. And then plus the credit score incentive. Credit score incentive can range anywhere from $0 to $2.50. So that is what could possibly be added on to your base pay. The credit score incentive is your incentive base multiplied by your incentive percentage. So I'm going to explain what both of those are kind of in detail before we even get into anything else. So your incentive base can range anywhere from $0 to $2, and what that is how many classes you teach per day. So they have a little chart. If you go to sign your contract, your incentive base kind of ranges slightly. Your incentive base is a little number that they give you, and it's based off of how many classes you teach each day. So if you only teach 0 or 1 class a day, this is going to be 0. Oh, by the way, I don't know if I mentioned the credit score incentive. I think this is the big reason that they changed it, is because the old credit score system basically affected your pay from the month before. So say you had a bad month and you had like a 90 credit score from December. Well, now that credit score is going to affect your pay in January for all your classes that you teach in January. This new system, which I think that might be a little better if it's based off of every day, but it's a little more confusing to track because they say that they update it 6 days after that initial day in Beijing time. So I don't know how you'd be able to keep track. Say Monday, oh, I want to know what my credit score is on Monday, but they won't have it calculated till Saturday. I think that's why a lot of people are having so many problems with the new system, is because you don't have a good idea of what you're doing every day unless you have the exact same schedule every day. For me, as a new teacher, I'm still pretty inconsistent. Some days I have 4 or 5 classes, and other days I'll have like 2 or 3. So it's kind of hard for people like me to keep track of their credit score incentive. So take all of this with a grain of salt. So your incentive base can range anywhere from 0 to 2, like I said. But to get there's 4 different incentive base levels that you can achieve. So for 1.5, you would have to teach 2 to 3 classes. And then 1.7, 4 to 5 classes. And then 1.8, 6 to 8 classes. And then to get the 2, the max you can get for the incentive base, you have to teach 9 or more classes. So this is just your incentive base number. This is based off of how many classes you teach each day. So this is the trickier part, incentive percentage. Incentive base is a little bit easier to understand because it doesn't take so many things into account. But basically, your incentive percentage is based off of 2 things: your performance and your attendance. Your attendance is reflected from the last 30 days. So this is basically just enforcing that the teacher comes to class on time, that they're not late. That's how you can get deductions off of this portion, is if you're late to class, teacher IT issues, or if the teacher leaves early or something like that. And then additions are obviously if you get to class on time. So that's attendance. And then performance. Performance reflects your most recent 150 bookings up to the last year. So performance is a little bit harder to manually calculate because it's based off of so many things. So it's based off of your 5-star evaluations and then your default additions. And what your default additions are basically if you taught a class but a parent didn't leave an evaluation, which is honestly super common. I've taught almost 30 classes now and I still have 1 5-star rating, and that's just my only evaluation. And this 1 5-star rating is literally off of my first class. So I love you, my first class. Thank you. I still remember her name. And then deductions for performance would include like teacher no-show or teacher cancellations, teacher IT issues, and inappropriate behavior, which, I mean, if you're a teacher, you're obviously not going to behave inappropriately unless you're just weird. Or valid parent complaints. That is what your incentive percentage is based off of: performance and attendance. Again, attendance is just if you're showing up on time. And oh, one other thing that greatly affects your attendance is if you open those peak time slots. So if they have that little flame, you know, the little flame at that time, if you open those slots, those way heavier than if you attend classes that aren't during those peak time slots. So that's another thing to take into consideration. Your incentive percentage is a little tricky. Like I've said already like 10 times. You can see your incentive percentage on your teacher portal. So basically under your little profile picture, that's like right here, you have your little profile picture, and right under is incentive level. Your incentive level, they call it also your credit score. So whatever you see as your incentive level, whether it's 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, you get a certain incentive percentage based off of that level. So if you click on that incentive level, you can see like this is what they now call your credit score, what your credit score is now. Basically, whatever that level is, and again, that's based off of your performance and attendance, you get assigned an incentive percentage. So for level 1 and level 2, which is 0 to 69 for the credit score, you get a fat 0 for your incentive percentage. So even if you teach a lot of classes for that incentive base, it doesn't matter, because say I teach 4 classes. So if I teach 4 classes, my incentive base for that day is 1.7. But if my incentive level has not hit that 70 threshold, which if you get if you have a 70 or higher credit score, that's when you actually have something as an incentive percentage, then it doesn't matter. So I could be teaching it. Honestly, it seems counterintuitive for newer teachers because you're finally getting these bookings, and then even, you know, you're trying your best to get feedback, you're being really polite in the evaluations, just saying like, let me know if there's anything that I can personalize, you know, and try to get some feedback from the parents. You're SOL if you can't get feedback, because that weighs so much in, like, with this incentive percentage. If you don't hit that level 3 incentive level, you're kind of, you know. So the level 1 incentive level, or your credit score as they call it now, is 0 to 59. Level 2, 60 to 69. Level 3, 70 to 79, and this is where you start to see your available incentive percentage. So once you hit that level 3, you get your incentive percentage is now 100. So now you have something to work with for that formula that makes your credit score incentive. If you have a level 4 incentive level, that's 110% incentive percentage, and then your level 5 gives you 125% for your incentive percentage. So I know this still sounds really confusing, but I'm gonna bring it all back, I promise. I just wanted to get that out there of what your incentive base and your incentive percentage actually are. So I'll kind of try to wrap it up right now, and then we'll do a couple examples. So to finish things off, your class earnings are your credit score incentive plus your base pay. So credit score incentive is your incentive base times your incentive percentage. So your incentive base is based off of how many classes you teach, and your incentive percentage is based off of two things: performance considered from the last 150 classes from the last year, and your attendance, which is reflected from classes completed within the last 30 days. Unless you like love spreadsheets and you can keep track of every single class, then you can. I personally don't think I'm going to be able to. Right now, I'm still technically on the old credit score system, and please correct me if I'm wrong if you have better knowledge of the credit score incentive, or if the new credit score system. I feel that I have a pretty good understanding. I've heard a lot of teachers are a little bothered by this because it was so simple before. If you had that credit score based off of the evaluations and like classes completed, opening during peak time slots, which is very similar to the incentive percentage, or which is very similar to both aspects actually. But it was just a little easier to follow, and whatever you got, you could add 125% or 110% to your base pay. There's that. I'm gonna give a couple examples so that hopefully that's helpful. Okie dokie. So I'm gonna use my prop. Let's say Karen teaches 3 classes per day. So based off of the chart, if she teaches 3 classes per day, her incentive base, I'm going to do IB, her incentive base is 1.5. Okay, that's her incentive base. Then I'm going to multiply it by incentive percentage. Come on, guys. So your incentive percentage, again, is based off of your incentive level. So whatever number you see off of your, or right under your profile picture in the teacher portal, that's your incentive level. So let's say she has an incentive level of 2, because maybe she's a newer teacher and she just can't teach as many classes. So with that incentive level of a 2, she has a 0 as an incentive percentage. Wow. 1.5 times 0 equals 0. So she has 0 incentive pay added to her base pay. Yeah, that kind of stinks. So unless you're becoming, or you already are, a seasoned / veteran teacher at Gogokid, it's gonna be a while until you start seeing any incentive pay come in. Karen's current credit score incentive is 0. So, and let's say she has an $8 base pay per class. So 0 plus 8 equals $8 per class. Her pay has not changed whatsoever because the credit score incentive does not help her out because she has a low incentive level. So now I'll show you an example of someone who is probably would be a more seasoned or like a veteran teacher. Again, I really think this credit score incentive or whatever it's called, I think they did this to really encourage teachers to just teach more and put in more hours. And I mean, obviously as a company, that's what you want. You want your employees to be, you know, giving a lot of effort and teaching more and getting more students. So I get it. It's just kind of a pain right now because I'm a newbie. So I don't want to say that it's like disheartening, but it's just frustrating because I mainly went with Gogokid first because I heard that their bonuses were really great. So yeah, let's show an example of someone who's a more seasoned teacher. So let's say Miss Shelley teaches 5 classes. So if she teaches 5 classes, her incentive base is 1.7, okay? 1.7. And let's say Miss Shelley has a level 4 incentive level or credit score. So that is 4. If she has a level 4 incentive level, that means that her incentive percentage is 110%. So you have to take 1.7 times 110%. You have to make this guy a decimal. So they ain't making it simple, but it's simple. 110% to make into a decimal, just multiply it times 100 or move the decimal 2 spots over. So now you have 1.7 times 1.1. 1.7 times 1.1. 1.87. So this is now her credit score incentive. So her credit score incentive 1.87 plus her base pay. Her base pay $8. So her credit score incentive is now 1.87. And that's in dollars. This is the added amount on her base pay. Plus, let's say she makes $8. So now she makes 9.87 per class. And if you want to figure out what that is per hour, you would just multiply it by 2. I'll do it faster on here. 9.87 times 2. So now she makes $19.74. So in my personal opinion, I feel like the old credit score system made it easier for teachers to get these incentive bonuses. Granted, they're still gonna do like different monthly bonus challenges that they post on their teacher portal. So hopefully that helps out some teachers. I'm not so discouraged because my base pay is fairly high, but I'm just a little frustrated. I was very excited to see these incentive bonuses, and I mean, I hope I see them soon. I hope you guys have a better understanding of the Gogokid credit score incentive system. I feel like I have a better understanding after making this video, but if you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments down below. Let me know if there's anything in particular that you'd like to see. Feel free to shoot me an email down below. I love answering your guys' questions about the hiring process and just Gogokid in general and what my experience has been. But yeah, stay tuned for my next video. I'm gonna do a 1-month update of Gogokid. I'm very excited to share some of that info with you guys. So there you have it, folks. That is I think, as best as someone humanly possible can explain this new credit score system for Gogokid. I hope it was helpful. I hope you found it at least entertaining for me to try to explain this new system. And if you like what you see, just keep on watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.